This is Mission Critical to Mission Accomplished. Tune in to Constant Technology's podcast, where we keep up with the latest in Operations Center technology and applications.
I feel the liftoff. The clock has started.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mission Critical, the podcast by Constant Technologies. I'm your host today, Tyler Kern, and today we're going to be talking about Turnkey Operations Center solutions. And joining me on today's show is Heather Conover. She is the Senior Project Manager at Constant Technologies. Heather, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Tyler. Great to be here.
Absolutely. So Heather, talk to me just to start off. What are some ways that Constant Technologies really sets itself apart in this Operations Center space?
Well, it really is a cool company. We do operation centers in a very comprehensive way, where there's other vendors out there who might handle just the audiovisual portion or maybe be console manufacturers. We really can come in and do both, which can really simplify what can be sometimes complex process for the end user. So there's real value in having us involved from the beginning and, figuring out what console design to use, how they should be spaced out within the room, what their line of sight to the video walls will be. It all kind of comes together under one scope that we handle for the end user.
So how does the fact that you do both of those things really help, I guess, unify a project for that end user, like you mentioned? Because it seems to me that having that constant vision throughout the entirety of a project would really help kind of bring all of those different diverse aspects all together in a way that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we started back in the mid-'80s as just a console company. We really just handled the furniture end. But we started to see very quickly that most rooms that have console furniture that are in an operation center environment also have a video wall. So the two things really do go hand in hand. So we saw it as a real value add to the end user to have somebody who is really an expert in that type of environment. So we really have a very narrow lane that we fly in of as far as the furniture goes and the audiovisual, of having a unique understanding of what's really needed in a room that runs 24/7.
Yeah, so kind of talk to me a little bit more about the unique demands of a room like this, right? Because if it is operational 24/7, then there are some, demands that are put on these types of facilities and the types of products that you carry that are different than maybe that of a place where a screen is on a couple hours a day or a few hours a day. This is obviously different. So talk to me about some of those demands.
Yeah, absolutely. We really like to have a human-centered approach. I mean, there's people working in these rooms. They're working very long shifts. So starting off with the console furniture, we manufacture our own line of consoles. And the first thing is durability. I mean, you've got these rooms that turn on and don't ever turn off. So they have to be built very rugged. But they also have to be very comfortable for the operator. A lot of rooms choose to do a sit-stand console. So the operators, during their long shift, they can work seated or they can stand up for kind of a change of pace. And that really does help with productivity. Also, there's a lot of different equipment demands in these spaces. So operators might have a wide range of equipment from multiple PCs to laptops to racked equipment. So we work to make sure that they have easy access to all the equipment that they need. Then kind of moving along to the audiovisual portion, I mean, the displays, they really need to be very high grade displays so that they can be on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So, but the displays really are kind of the front facing feature of the audiovisual system. Behind that is processing solutions, talking with the customers about how to route and manage their sources, and also a really intuitive control system so that when the operators need to manipulate information on the display wall, it's easy because, split-second decisions need to be made very often in these types of rooms. So not only does the equipment need to be very robust, but it also has to be really easy to operate.
So you mentioned those video walls and that sort of thing, and with the evolution of LED technology over the last decade or so, as pixel pitches have gotten smaller and resolutions has gotten better and things along those lines, how has that changing technology helped make what you do, or highlight a little bit more of what you do when it comes to those video walls, and maybe change a little bit more of the way that rooms are laid out and that sort of thing?
It really just adds more really fantastic product offerings to the end user. And when deciding what type of display to use, it really is room dependent. I mean, you might have an operation center that is on the smaller side. Maybe there's only like 8-foot ceilings. And then if you have a room that maybe has 20-foot ceilings and it's very wide open, I mean, you really need to analyze where the operators are, what their line of sight is, and also what the applications are that they're monitoring. You don't want somebody who's sitting in the front row of an operations center not to be able to see small text on a display because the resolution is off. So one of the benefits of Constant being an integrator is that we are able to really dive into the requirements of the clients, figure out what they need to do within the space, and then bring together the appropriate technology to build out that AV system. So as where we're a furniture manufacturer, we don't manufacture anything on the audiovisual side. We have strategic partnerships with some of the best vendors out there that we can bring together the right product for the end user. And being agnostic like that, we're not trying to push a product that may or may not meet their needs. We're really finding out what would work best for them and bringing that system together.
And what I think is really unique about talking to you about rooms like this and spaces like this, and the fact that you do both furniture as well as the AV integration, is that when you talk about these types of situations, these types of spaces, they can be high pressure environments, right? And environments where every second matters, and being able to communicate things clearly and concisely matter quite a bit. And so it makes sense that people would be interested in having a company do these types of projects that specializes in this, right? You mentioned that what you do is kind of a narrow industry, but really it makes sense that somebody would want a company like Constant to come in and do these types of rooms, just because of, at times, the stakes that are riding on these types of rooms with these facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, careers can be made or broken on, these projects going right or going wrong. And the requirements for these spaces are so unique that working with an integrator that has the expertise to understand the right type of spatial design, the right type of products, it really is helpful to our customers. And, we really take a lot of pride in our customer list. We have a really extensive and awesome list of customers. And often we've done multiple installations for them. That we might do one project and then maybe they have projects in different global locations. And they want to kind of mirror the model that they've started with through the first project. So that really is, we see our customers really as we're their partner. We are here to help them. These are demanding environments, and we really provide our expertise to help them through. And, one of the most special things about Constant Technologies, I would say, is our people. We did kind of an audit of some of our customers recently to ask them, what they thought set us apart from other vendors that they work with. And it really came down to service and support. Whether you're talking about the design team that helps do the layouts, the project management team, the installers who, make all this magic happen and bring it all together. We've got an unbelievable team with a breadth of experience. And, at the end of the day, we're only as good as, day one of when the operations start. So, we really pride ourselves on, from concept through completion, doing a great job and, looking for that repeat business and continuing to help our customers with all their future projects.
You made a great point there, and just talking about from concept to completion, and the fact that it's really constant, kind of from beginning to end of a project. How does that really help simplify things for your clients, right? Where instead of having multiple different hands touching a project and multiple decisions to make, really it's just working with you guys. Does that really help streamline that process, which helps them get from concept to completion a little quicker?
Yeah, it really does. And one thing that I think makes us unique is oftentimes with a company, you might deal with people on the sales side. So they're kind of talking you through trying to make the sale, and then it gets moved over to another department, and you don't necessarily ever even talk to the salesperson again. Whereas we've taken a very different approach. As a senior project manager here, I talk to the customer. If a phone call comes in today for a new project, I'll work from the beginning to working with them post service of the install. So we work on this together. They know me, they know my team, and it really is very helpful to have somebody that runs through the whole process, that is familiar with all your objectives and can really be there to help make sure that the vision that they have when they're starting off with the project is really what gets installed at the end of the day, and that all of their needs from a functionality standpoint are met. And in addition, I mean, these rooms are really cool looking. I mean, they are aesthetically just really fun rooms to work within. So not only are they rooms that are making very important decisions, but they also have that wow factor, and we strive to achieve that with all of our projects.
You mentioned your client list earlier, and without mentioning any clients by name, can you just give us an idea of some of the different industries that you have worked with and worked in to kind of build these, these operations centers so that people have an idea of a little bit more, maybe the breadth of the places that you've worked with?
It's kind of fun. We've worked across all the verticals. We've done a lot of government work, at very high up levels. We've worked all over the world with different, some of the top brands in the world. But, the cool thing too is that, there's operations center environments that people are really familiar with. When people ask me what I do for a living, often I reference NASA mission control, where you have like long lines of desks sitting together looking at displays, because people kind of understand that image of an operations center. But over the past couple of years, there's so many different types of operations center environments. One that's really grown over the past 5 years, I'd say, is rooms that focus on marketing and branding. So with social media being such a big part of businesses and their reputations, very often major brands are building command centers that are just, all they're doing is following their brand, making sure that their messaging is on point, and utilizing that information to make informed advertising decisions. So I don't think a lot of people would think that a marketing department would need an operations center, but the internet never shuts down. People are always talking about your brand, and it's such powerful information for stakeholders involved. So that's kind of a cool example of a new environment. Also, obviously, cybersecurity. I mean, most companies have to have some sort of cybersecurity center to monitor their system and get out in front of any kind of breaches of data. So we have a variety of customers that we work with, but also there's a lot of different types of operation centers that we're familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of mentioned one of the types of places that has popped up over the last 5 years and become a little bit more prevalent. What are some other ways that you've seen technology or design change over the years? Just in your time in the industry and your time at Constant, how have you seen some of these things evolve and change over the years?
I think the actual workplace of an operations center is starting to change. For a long time, they were always very dark. The display technology, even 10 years ago wasn't as good as it is now. And you often wouldn't find any ambient light or bright lights within the room because they'd want the displays to pop. But now that the display technology has come so far and is really just a beautiful, bright display, these rooms now have a lot more ambient light, which is great for the operators who, again, are in there sometimes for really long shifts. And also, as we talked about before, the sit stand is really a game changer. I mean, if you're at a desk for 12 hours, the ability to kind of work for a couple of hours sitting down and then stand up and let your body kind of move in a more natural way, it really increases the experience of the operators, which in turn increases their productivity and happiness, and that everyone's doing a better job when they're comfortable. So that human-centered approach that we take and that a lot of our customers factor in. I mean, understanding that these are people who are doing important work and need to have the right tools and equipment and furnishings in order to do the best job they can.
I love that you've said that a couple different times, just that human-centered approach, because at the end of the day, it is still human beings kind of behind a lot of these operations and that sort of thing. And so just keeping that human-centered approach at the heart of everything really does, help remind everybody that this is the purpose and this is how things get done and that sort of thing. And so I think that's a fantastic perspective.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of how we go about everything we do at Constant Technologies. I mean, we like to have a customer for life, and you always want to work with somebody who is fun to work with. And we have, such a cool team, and we really become part of the client's project team for anything operations center. So it's very fun going from company to company or government institutions and finding out what makes them tick, what's important to them, what they need from us to make their operations run smoothly, and, bring our team together to, just do the best job possible for them.
That is fantastic, and I've really enjoyed getting to learn a little bit more about how Constant Technologies takes your clients from concept to completion, finishing out these turnkey operations centers. So thank you so much for joining me to talk about it, Heather, and I look forward to talking again in the future.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Us too.
Absolutely. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Mission Critical. Please go subscribe on Spotify or iTunes. You can see previous episodes of the show there, as well as get the latest episodes downloaded directly to your device. And of course, we'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, I've been your host today, Tyler Kern. Have a great day.